No way. That's crazy.
We landed on the moon!
Welcome to Black Irish Podcast. Welcome to an all-new episode of Black Irish Podcast with myself, Brendan McCorkle, and Mike, don't touch Mike Crawford. What's up, buddy?
What up, Brendo? How you doing this week, my man?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. You know, every day above ground is a good one, you know?
That's good. It's also good if you're not homeless. Do you guys have a homeless problem where you live?
Yes, I consider it a problem. I don't know.
I think I have a solution.
What's
For the
that?
homeless problem in America. Moving sidewalks. Just install moving sidewalks everywhere. It's like the saddest conveyor belt in America. You just have to dump them off somewhere else.
Not to be funny, but how did that solve the problem?
Well, because
they're still going to be homeless. They're just going to be moving homeless.
Exactly. So where do you want the conveyor belts to land? Where's the moving sidewalk end? At the Luxor in Vegas, maybe? I don't know.
It's going to end somewhere, or it's just going to keep going because it is a sidewalk. It's like the old book. Where does the sidewalk end?
Shel Silverstein.
Okay, you do know that. Okay, elementary school. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's right. And A Light in the Attic. That was the other one.
I'm with all that, man. Book full of like poems and.
Yeah, we've got my older son has one of them in his room. I think A Light in the Attic. That one was more poems than short stories, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, good old Shel, that bald guy. Yeah, he had a picture of himself on the back of one. I think it was A Light in the Attic too. He's like bald. He looked like the guy, the hunter for Bigfoot in Harry and the Hendersons. That's what he looked like.
He's Harry and the Hendersons hunter.
That's a great
really,
flick.
Man?
Yeah.
Harry's and the Hendersons is a great flick.
Yes. You don't think so?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
Oh, it's about Bigfoot living with the Hendersons.
I know. I've seen like they
John
had a show
Lithgow?
at one point.
Come on, man.
I think I've seen an episode or something, but no.
It's a movie from the 80s.
No, it was a show too, right?
Probably.
No, it's definitely a show too. Definitely a show.
I don't trust that. I don't know about this thing. I don't like it. Just Harry and the Hendersons, all right? Leave good enough alone.
Well, I don't know if it was a show or movie, but I know I've not seen it. I thought it was a show and I might have seen the episode, but yeah, anyway, whatever.
You know what else is sad is I've been getting fat like the Grinch. I'm just all tits and gut. Like, it's fucking disgusting, dude. Like, I don't know what to do with myself.
Then it's time to do something about that, bro.
I
But you
know.
were just like super in shape about a month ago, so what happened?
What happened was I had kids home for the holidays. I had kids in the house for like a month. We also had the holidays. And then I just hurt my back recently, so I was like, oh, I'm about to get back on this exercise regimen. And then it was like, no, you're fucking not. And I was like, all right. So I just need to start eating healthy and whatever. I need to cool back on the cereal and the cookies and cakes and pies and whatever.
Never cool back on the cereal. Sorry. I love cereal.
Yeah.
Especially dry cereal.
Hey, by the way, not for nothing, I'm going to ask you to try something for me.
What's that?
Califia, toasted coconut, and almond milk. I don't know why they call it milk. It's not that. But it's gluten-free, it's soy-free, it's dairy-free. It has nothing that you can't have in it. And
So why do they call it milk?
I don't know. It bothers me. It bothers me.
What is it made of?
It's like coconut sweat. It's like, but you can't call it almond sweat. I don't know. It's just macerated almonds and toasted coconut. But anyway, it's delicious on top of the fact that you can have it. And I would love for you to have it with the Cheerios Cinnamon Toasted Oat cereal.
What?
I'm going to send you a whole text on it, but will you try it next time you go to the
Cinnamon
store?
toasted oat cereal, too.
shit.
So there's a lot of toasted oat going on here.
I guess maybe it's not toasted. I don't know. Yeah, toasted oats. It's delicious. You got it. Do it for me.
I didn't say I wouldn't. I'm just saying there's a lot of toasted oats. It's toasted oat. Good?
I will say it's
it's
the longest Cheerios name for a box of cereal that they have. But you mix that with a little bit of the maple Cheerios. Oh, it's delightful.
There's a lot of different type of Cheerios I see you've explored, sir.
Because usually it was just Honey Nut and regular. And then it was like, oh, they came out with blueberry. That's a thing. And then now they have like a whole bunch of different stuff. And it's pretty rad. Good for you, Cheerios.
It's like, oh, this comes out. Brendan got to try it.
Yeah, I guess
They got any strawberry ones?
I think they do. Yeah, they have like mixed berry and strawberry. So that might be right up your
I might give it a try. I don't know. Somebody asked me why I do strawberry everything today. I don't know. Strawberry oatmeal, strawberry cupcakes.
Maybe you like
strawberries.
Strawberries
Good. Yeah, strawberries are pretty good.
They're delightful. You know what else is delightful? I went to the barber shop today for the first time in a very long time.
We can tell, bro. You're pretty clean.
Yeah, you like that? I got the straight razor, which I was like, oh, this guy's going to kill me. I've been waiting for somebody to take me out for a long time. They finally saw my weakness. I broke down, and they're like, good, we're going to get him. And even when I mentioned something about it, he was like, I don't think I will. I'm like, that's the most honest answer I've gotten. That's cool. But like the last time I went to a barber, I was like 7. And it was like a real barber, like an 88-year-old man that knew how to do 2 haircuts, flat tops and comb overs. You know, like that was the barber I went to. It was like the guy reminded me of like Toy Story 2, where Woody's like getting like redone, and he's like all shaky and whatever, and then like right as he's about to hit the paintbrush to the thing, it's like perfectly flow, and he does everything exactly how it's supposed to. I don't know. That's kind of how it felt. But like since that barber, you know, got his training in Mayberry, I walked out of there, you know, looking like a young Buzz Aldrin. And like look up at my dad, like, you know, I was raised where it was like, listen, this is what we're doing, and you're not going to say anything about it. I was like, yeah, okay. But even that time, it was like a walk out, and I just kind of like remember looking up at my dad, and he's just like, we don't have to come back here. I was like, okay. So you admit too, this was a bad idea. So then in my 3rd grade school picture, I look like Buzz Aldrin at the Apollo 11 press conference when like some journal's like, hey Neil, are you excited to be the first man on the moon? And he's like, wait, what? Oh yeah, Buzz, you're just driving. And he's like smiling like, huh? Like that's my 3rd grade school picture. That's what I look like.
Yeah.
To a more relevant, not old archaic thing, I went to an opening of a Tupac exhibit in downtown LA this past Friday, and it was
which I saw pictures from, rad. And it was pretty awesome.
So I'll give you kind of the breakdown on this thing. So I bought tickets to this thing back in November. So I bought them pre-sale. I went to opening day. I went like 15 minutes after the grand opening. I'm like, let them figure out their shit. Let me get 15 minutes after the opening, then I can kind of just walk through. You know what I mean? Like I strategically got in the second group. So it's at a place called The Canvas, LA Live downtown, next to Staple or Crypto.com. The Crypt.
The Crypt.
And so it was pretty rad. So I end up getting there and walk in, and the first room I took pictures of. So it's like, it's art, so I feel weird about taking pictures, but like everywhere on the way in, they're like, hey, take pictures, tag us. You know, I think since it was opening day, they wanted to promote this stuff, but usually they'd be like, hey, no photography, no nothing. But again, I don't know, maybe that's going to be their policy forever. Since it's only in LA, maybe they're like, share it with the world. I don't fucking know. So I was like, all right, what I'll do is I'll take a couple of pictures, and then it's art. I want to experience the art. That's why I'm here. It's called an art experience, you know? That's what they're calling it. So so I go in the first room, and it's all white. And all of the art, you know, the material wasn't necessarily what was focused on. It was everything, all the art pieces and sculptures were tattoos from his body. And they all had little, you know, descriptions next to them as to either what it meant, you know, in the philosophical sense, because, you know, there wasn't anything like, this is why I got this tattoo, or, you know, like the Thug Life tattoo. It's an acronym. It explains the acronym and all that, you know, like shit like that. So that was the first room. They're playing music in that first room. It's going over the whole room, you know, so you're just in there experiencing it. It's extremely cool, really rad. So I go around, I take my pictures, and then I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm putting my phone away. So the next room is you have to have headphones and like a little clicker to go in, because they get 35 people at a time. They show you like a 5 or 6 minute kind of video thing, like just to kind of prep you, get you in the mindset. So I went in the first room, and I, you know, lit up in the parking lot before I was going in, because fucking why not? So it was like that initial like 15-minute buzz was just coming down when I was like done taking my pictures and stuff, and I was like, why do all these people have headphones? So I missed the first group that went into the room to watch the video. So then I'm like, okay, they were controlling the capacity. So that's me and like 12 other people, where normally when I walked in it was like 50. I grabbed my headphones and it was like an open room. It was so cool, like the way that it all just kind of transpired. It was like I just ass backwards fell into a great situation. So then I'm in like the third group going into the thing. They show a video. I won't get too into it, but it's like, hey, if you can't handle real shit that's kind of tough, go to the next room. You know, we don't recommend anybody under the age of 14 see this, or it, you know, if you don't like police brutality and shit like that, fucking go to the next room. And then from there, it was basically, it's so fucking cool, dude. I encourage anybody that gets a chance to go, whether you like Tupac or not, it's amazing to see this journey. It starts off with a room dedicated to his mom and the Black Panthers. Like before he was conceived, this is where he came from. This is what his mom was doing. And then it goes into his birth, and kind of you walk through the museum, the exhibit, I should say, and each room, turn, twist is a different section of his life. And so I like the way that they categorized it. I could have spent the entire day there, but considering it was opening day, there was a video element to it. It's an experience you're supposed to be walking through. I didn't take too much time in between. Like I just kind of did what looked at what I really, really wanted to, kind of stayed in each room. I would take maybe like 5 minutes on like 1 or 2 separate items. I was like, I don't fucking care. There's a whole other room. I want to look and then absorb all of this. And also, you had your headphones and a clicker on, so each different thing you went to, you could click and it could read to you. So some of it, it was like, oh, that looks cool. I'd click something and read it while I was looking at it, or listen to it while I was looking at other shit, you know. Trying to be as efficient as I could with this experience.
With the time, huh?
But dude,
did you have the kids with you, or you?
No, just me, just rolling solo.
Okay, solo.
But there was every kind of person there. There were young children.
I'm sure that's gonna be the case.
Were, you know, art people. You know, people. You're like, oh, fucking, you're here strictly because it's art. You don't really even know what this is about. Like it was very, very cool.
How do you know what they know, man?
Because standing next to them, like we go in the room where there's the video, and it's like rainforest sounds, and there's trees and wind, and like you're watching this video as they're getting ready to hit the play button prep, and there's these guys like, is this what he's trying to say? Like, mine aren't working. What is he supposed to sound like? And it's like, it's wind, you idiot. They haven't started the thing yet. So they didn't know what Tupac sounded like. They thought he sounded like wind. That's how I'm guessing they were there for the art only. You know, judgment on my part. Too bad. But they also had very small headphones, which is the one knock I'll give them. I got a giant dome, man. Give me some extensions or something. Fuck. Like, I don't know, man. Yeah. Do something on that. But it was really rad. So there was an entire section that was only notebooks. And it was like broken down into like, here were track lists. And you could tell that the entire notebook is written through, but they only flipped it to one page. And it's like, you could see like his albums where it's like, you know, like going from a certain set list and certain songs and then the progression of it. And just, it didn't matter what he was thinking. He wrote down everything that he wanted to do. And then he would go back and compare it. And then sometimes it reverted back to the original. And then sometimes it was different. But I mean, this dude had notebooks for days. And just his chicken scratch, shit that he wrote down, just like, I don't want to forget that, but I'm never going to use it, is like so incredibly insightful. It's insane, his throwaways. It was just like, it was very cool. Like, there's a whole section on screenplays. There's a whole section on, one of the things that I jive with the most was they put notebooks with like business ideas, business plans. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, what else was he into? And it was just kind of funny that I was looking at this and I'm like, oh shit, not comparing myself to him in the philosophical sense any which way other than how we organize our thoughts. But I'm like, that's how I write shit down. That's how I categorize shit. You know, and it wasn't all the same, but I was like, I definitely saw some similarities there. Like, that's a weird thing I only thought I did. Like, because other people I've worked with are like, how do you remember stuff like that? I'm like, I don't know, but that's how it works. So I thought that was really, really cool. It was just, I mean, it was incredibly inspiring. And, you know, also it reinforced a lot of the, but it also reinforced a lot of the shit that, you know, I just try and live by, whether it was my entire life or, you know, somewhat recently, whatever. Just, you know, there's something he said that has always stuck with me, is that his quote is, I'm not going to change the world, but I'll spark the brain of the person that will. And, you know, combining that with something Whitney Cummings said a long time ago, or not that long ago, where she said she's trying to break every ancestral cycle that her family's ever had. Like, combining those two thoughts is something that I have in me. Like, there's a ton of shit that I want to get rid of and not pass on to my kids and not have them pass on to their kids. But in my brain, it's not just, I can't just stop. It's like, my kids' kids are going to be the generation that gets it. You know what I mean? That's where it's going to stick. Because otherwise, it's just a break in the cycle, and then the cycle can just repeat. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm just trying to teach my kids, like, listen, it doesn't matter what you do. If you work, like, I did it the hard way. If you work hard, you will have moderate to extreme success in anything you do. I'm trying to give them the practical out. Like, let's pick what you want to do and work towards that. You know, like, if you work hard, you're going to have moderate to extreme success. And then hopefully by their generation, their kids, my grandkids, if I'm so lucky, those guys or girls or whoever, they can do what they want their way, because they will have instilled in them that if you work hard, it's going to come. And instead of doing it, you know, I did it the hard way where I had to scratch and claw without much help. I mean, I've had people help me along the way, but I didn't get to where I am with my knowledge of things by sitting around and waiting for people to tell me stuff. And I want my kids to know that if you go out and get it, whether you want it or not. Like, I was very successful in businesses that I didn't even care about. So if you pick something you want, there's a practical way of doing it. And if you could do that right and not carry on all the stupid baggage that your mom and I gave to you, then maybe your kids can do it their way with all these tools. They could be the leaders. You know what I mean? That's, I don't know. I'm just trying to streamline that thought process because I think it's super important.
There you go, man. I mean, look, your kids, raise them how you want to, man. It sounds like you got a good idea of what you want to do, so that's what's up, man. Yeah. That's what's up.
I'm also going to teach them the tricks of the trade and the ways of the world. Like the way I handle my 9th grade science teacher. Because there's a way to get the shit you want in life, and you don't even necessarily have to work that hard if you just...
Don't worry, don't teach Mick nothing, man. He's not far from 9th grade, so...
Yeah. You know, work smart, not hard. There was a time in 9th grade science where we were discussing something about the rate of boiling water. And I remember it vividly because I couldn't believe I pulled this off. So I got upset in class. I don't usually talk in class. I'm just an under-the-breath kind of a guy. Whoever's around me gets what I'm hearing. Nobody else hears it. That was me in class. So I got frustrated because the teacher asked the question, is it faster to boil cold water or hot water? And the answer was cold. And I said, I'm sorry, sir. I'm going to have to politely disagree with you. And his argument was, by the time you let the water heat up to fill up the pot, the direct heat would have heated up the pot and the cold water faster to a boiling point. I go, yeah, I get that, Mr. Furman, which was his name, and he had a googly mustache to go with it, which I like the guy, by the way. I'm like, nope. I'd like to interject. I don't agree with that. And he's like, well, that's what it is. So there's no debate here. And I wouldn't let it go. Like, almost to the point of getting in trouble. Like, all I want to do is discuss this with you openly, and you keep shutting me down, and I don't care for that. So we're going to talk about this.
People don't discuss science, man.
So it got to the point where he's like, listen, drop it, and if you want to discuss it further, come see me after class. And I'm like, fucking, I ain't doing shit else but waiting for that time to come down, click down. You know, because usually it's like, no students are going to come see the teacher after class to debate science. And
Definitely
so I was just
not me.
like, so after class, I'm like, I don't even give a shit if I ever make it to my other classes. I hardly went anyway. So I'm like, all right, check it out, Mr. Furman. You have to allow for variance. You have to allow for variance. So you can't, it's not as cut and dry as cold and hot. I said, I understand if that's how you explain the question, but that's not how you explain the question. If you're filling up cold water but have the knob turned to hot, it will get warmer as you're filling it up, so it doesn't matter. That is the fastest way to do it, to fill up whatever the room temperature water is, but on the hot setting, and it gets hotter from the pump through the pipes as it goes into the pot. Then you put it on the boiling water. That's the fastest way to get to boil. So it's somewhere in between. You didn't allow for that variant. And he's like, yeah, I understand
Are you
that.
serious?
He's like, yeah, I understand that. That's a good point. And I was like, also, what about an instant hot? And he's like, what? I was like, you can have instant hot water. What about that? It's not as cut and dry as you say. And he's like, okay, listen. I appreciate that you're thinking of all these other angles that normally
Bro, you
people
had too
wouldn't.
much time on your hands.
And I was in science class in 9th grade. What the fuck else was I supposed to do? I was thinking about science, dude. But I'm not
In
thinking
ninth
about what
grade?
he's telling me and going, is that right or wrong? Or, yes, that is. Let me memorize that. I'm going, wait, are there other ways to do this? So basically, we just kind of talked about different ways to boil water for like 30 minutes. Because it was like in between, there was like a break, you know, like a snack, 15-minute, whatever. And I'm like, he didn't have a next class. I'm like, I'm not going to that class anyway. So by the end of it, we had a discussion, and he was like, listen, I appreciate what you're doing. So if you want to just do independent study in my class, I'll give you a B. But you cannot disrupt my class ever again. I was like, fucking done, bro. That was 3 weeks into the year. Done. So I got a B for the semester, and all I had to do was show up and not talk. It was fucking awesome.
Well, you know how I accomplished the same goal of getting an A for the class and getting told not to come, just go to the extra lunch period by just being smarter than everyone and letting them copy off my work.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
So I let enough people copy. The teacher pulled me to the side and was like, yeah, Mike, don't come back. I don't need you to come. I know you know this stuff.
We need them to learn
just, just enjoy yourself. Go ahead and have an extra lunch. I'll make sure you have an A for the rest of the year.
That is rad, dude. That's
also the same stuff that got me put into the STEP program, though. So, because he wouldn't back me when it came to the principal when I got ratted on.
Oh.
Yeah, so got into some girl situation, and she told on me that I was going to 2 lunch periods, but I literally have been told I can go.
Yeah.
When I told the principal that, there's no way he believed it. So, and when he went to Mr. Egan about it, he was like, "Yeah, leave me out of this."
About, yeah. You know what's funny is I had a similar situation. By the way, both in middle school and junior high and in high school, where I wasn't allowed in the sex ed class. And by the way, I was not a class clown. Like, I wasn't disruptive. Like I said, I was only a class clown in the fact that, like, if you were sitting around me, that was a good spot. But if you weren't sitting around me, you weren't going to hear a fucking word I said. You were just going to hear some giggles from time to time and hope it wasn't about you. That's it. But before sex ed even came to the table in health class, they're like, the teacher pulled me aside, both in middle school and in high school, and was like, listen, you can't be here. We're going to be talking about vaginas and wieners, and you got to go. And I'm sure I've already said this before, but it was like, how are you guys going to keep this kid out of class? And basically it was the same thing. Like, listen, we're not saying that you're allowed to be walking around. So if you get caught, we don't know.
No.
But you will get the highest mark and always attendance in this class if you do not show up for this week or 2 weeks. And I'm like, fucking all right, man. So you know what I did in middle school? I took pieces of, this is when did you guys have the stupid rollerblader things with the ink cuts in the shoes and you could like grind on stuff? Yeah, that's the whitest thing you could do. So it was like the guys that we're playing hacky sack. We're looking down like, what are these guys doing? So I couldn't afford those shoes, and I hung out with rollerbladers at the time because they did the drugs. And so what I did was I ended up clipping pieces of plastic, like squares of plastic, and duct taping them to the bottom of my shoes, and just walking around the school sliding on benches.
You were living the white life, man.
Oh, that was the whitest life too. And I think it was like they were like the Payless Vans. Like they weren't even Skechers, but they, you know.
I own a pair of Vans now. Woohoo! My first pair of Vans I bought when I was in Cali. Cause I need some all black shoes.
Why don't you go with Chucks? Oh, you're a foot cushion guy. You need all the cushion.
I need cushion.
Did you get like skater shoes or did you get the off the wall slip-ons?
No, I got them like they're like tennis shoes. You know, they make like tennis shoes now. Like
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
I don't know. For a guy that likes a lot of cushion.
But I also put cushion in them. I bought Dr. Scholl's gel.
Fucking Dr. Scholl.
Dr. Scholl's gel cushions. They're amazing too, just so you know.
Yeah. Well, switching to sports, you know who else is amazing? Big Poppy.
No. To hell with that. Big
What?
Bobby,
Whoa. Hang on.
That's my guy.
I love
All
Big
due
Poppy.
respect. But Big Poppy tested positive for. There's no way you put Poppy in who got actually tested positive, and Bonds never tested positive, and he's the greatest player of all time. And he doesn't get in. Like Poppy's good, he's not the greatest player of all time.
Agreed.
Look, the Baseball Hall of Fame is forever bullshit.
Yeah.
It's the bullshit. It's officially bullshit.
Yeah. It was kind of sad. I was like, the Clemens thing, I was like, he should be in there, obviously. But if he was held out, that's kind of one of those like, I don't feel good about it, but you know, it's kind of like Pete Rose. Like everybody knows Pete Rose should be in there, but it's like, whatever. You were kind of a giant dick after the fact too, and during. So you know, if you don't get in, I'm not losing sleep over it. But the Bonds thing, it's like, all right, dude. Like, yes, he was taking steroids, but guess what? So was 85% to 95% of everybody else in the league. The problem with being great is when you take all the enhancers that everybody else does, it takes you to the stratosphere. It takes you out of this world. Because Barry Bonds has the best eye at a plate I've ever seen in my life. Ever. Hands down. When he looks back and the umpire's like, the next one's a ball, I don't care if it goes right down the middle. I'm sorry I fucked that up. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And he was in the 30 for 30 club in like his second or third year. Like, this dude was balling from day one. Day one. It was just when everybody else was cheating, he's like, fucking, I'm going to cheat too. These guys aren't on my level. They're not allowed to be on my level. Let me show them what's up. And then he fucking did. Sorry. Like, I get not putting him in. I get him not putting him in, even for the first, like,
they were just, I'm okay if they just say, look, we're not putting steroid dudes in, cool. But when you put one in, you can't put, you you can't put him in and not put Bonds.
And by the way,
and A-Rod's coming up, and he's not gonna get it.
First ballot, David Ortiz. First ballot.
They first balloted David Ortiz, and his numbers don't even like. Barry Bonds would wrap his numbers in a circle twice and throw them over the like, bro. And and just so everyone knows, I am a Boston Red Sox fan, bro. Like Poppy and Manny are the reason why I'm Boston Red. Like when I really got into baseball. So this is no disrespect to Poppy at all.
No, and
but what these writers have took the power to do, because they are the ones who make these decisions, is bullshit. But they just say, we got the power, so we're going to do it, and nobody can make us do otherwise. But it's bull. And that's why I'm going to get off my soapbox on that.
No, you shouldn't, because here's the thing. Like, in those situations where David Ortiz was absolutely clutch for the Red Sox in the playoffs, would you rather have him or Barry Bonds at his prime in that position? I'll take Barry Bonds every day of the week.
Every day of the week.
You know what I'm saying?
No, we would have been in a lot better situation, because there were times that there were people who walked Barry Bonds with the bases loaded, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's the ultimate.
Dude,
you got it.
He got walked with the bases loaded. I forget who they were playing. I want to say it was the Diamondbacks, because I'm like, it was when they were fairly new, and I'm like, that's why you guys suck so bad. But they walked Barry Bonds intentionally with the bases like the handout. We're doing this all the way with bases loaded, and the Giants were down 1 run. They walked him to tie the game because they're like, fuck that. He will win the game. Let's go to OT. They're playing for OT. You know what I mean? It's like, hell no, dude. We don't want to lose. We're playing for OT here. But also, that being said, I will say, Big Papi is, in my opinion, the best DH of all time. Only because that was pretty much his only role. You know, he played first bag, when he had to. But he's also, in my opinion, and I know this is probably going to scorch some people, I think he's the most valuable Red Sox ever to play.
That's tough.
Because of what he brought them out of and how he did it. I think he's the most important Boston Red Sox player in Boston Red Sox history.
That is tough.
I mean, who would you put over it? I mean, everybody else had their moments. Fisk was great. Like, they're one of the most storied franchises ever. Ted Williams, good God, man.
Yeah, but those guys,
they weren't the most important to the franchise.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave those guys out because but people like Pedro and Schilling would argue that fact, especially coming back from 3-0, giving him the chance to make those hits. They would argue that.
Yeah, but here's the other thing: is you just included 2 people that it required for the Red Sox to do that, and compared it to 1. So those 2 guys had to do. When you only pitch every 4th game or 3 games, if they're really tight, and Francona's got you by the balls, but you're not playing every day. People don't have to deal with you every day, at least 3 to 4 times a day, or not more when you guys are going.
But without them doing that, you're not who you are, because you're just a DH. You know what I mean?
Listen.
So, but I'll give you that. I will be able to say that, and it's okay. That's a legit. If he isn't, he's got a legit argument to be. So, no, that's cool. That's okay with saying that.
But here's so this leads me into like team sports, and I will say that I think baseball is strategic athleticism. It's my favorite combination of how to play a sport, because it's a chess match that you have to be a good athlete to compete at a high level. Obviously, any professional sport, you have to do that. But for me, baseball is like strategic athletics. Hockey?
Yeah, but I don't believe that it's a team sport and you have to play on a team. But if everyone does their job individually, you can win. Like, you don't have to, I don't need you to help me do my job. Baseball is pretty much every individual do their job. We're just out here together.
All right, okay. Hang on though. Let me run through this and then see if you feel the same way. So I'll say I agree with you in a certain regard in that way. So hockey is like graceful brutality. Soccer is endurance and precision. Basketball is a team sport made up of individuals. And football is the ultimate team sport. Because if one person doesn't do their job in football and the other team everybody does, game over. The other team wins every time unless they make a mistake.
And basketball is a really team sport because you play both ways. So, like, you can't be a liability on either side, then the team suffers. But hockey might be the ultimate team sport, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like football, everybody has to,
because you can score a goal by yourself. You can't do that in football unless you're the quarterback.
Yeah, it's hard as shit to score a goal by yourself. I'm gonna tell you that. Yeah. It's gonna be hard as shit.
Oh, it absolutely is. But
like you're not just getting a rebound, going coast to coast and scoring a goal by yourself. Somebody's gonna knock you almost out. Like, bro, like hockey is brutal.
Yeah.
Like you just need people's help. But no, football is the ultimate team sport.
Because everybody has their assignment.
Yeah, and plus you have to depend on like a whole different 11.
Yeah.
Because you're not even part of that 11. And then the third 11, which is special teams.
Yeah. Well, that's the other part about it is when you're on the baseball field, I know when I'm on the baseball field, or when I was, it was like, all right, hit it to me so I can make a play. And I know it's similar on the football field too, but on the football field, the D linemen are like, okay, I'm going after the quarterback because I trust that the linebackers got my back here. And then I trust that the secondary's got their back. You know, it's like there has to be so many layers of trust involved where it's like baseball, it's like, ultimately, if you just have a really good pitcher, the other guys don't really matter that much. You know what I mean?
Or if everybody catches the ball, they come to them, then we're good. Like, look, you don't need me to help you.
There's not a whole lot of trust involved.
You catch it.
See,
like,
baseball is all about execution, and football is you have to rely a lot more on trust.
Yeah. And at the plate, it's like, oh, you're on first base. Well, I'm going to try to hit it anyway, because that's what I'm going to do, even if you weren't on base. And wherever I hit it, you just run as fast as you can to the base or try to get home. You got it? Ready, set, go. And then but, you got to do, like, shifts and stuff now, so that shit is
the game is evolved, for sure, but it's definitely
that takes a lot more communication.
Yeah. But
fuck the NFL playoffs. Just let me throw that out there.
Why fuck the NFL playoffs? Because you want to be the one person that didn't enjoy it this past weekend?
Yep.
Okay, so let's review.
Team won.
Let's go. Bengals Titans. Hang on. Bengals Titans. What'd you think about it?
What do you mean?
What's your assessment, Mike? I care about what
my assessment is the Titans should have won the game, even though they stunk it up with all those damn turnovers, but they still should have won.
All right, so you're not impressed with the Bengals whatsoever?
No, I was impressed with the Bengals the week before, and I think this week is going to be a flat out shootout.
I think so too. So we did
I'm impressed with Burrow.
Go ahead.
I'm impressed with Burrow. He plays better than I thought he would be. But, yeah.
He is, man, the confidence on that kid. I love it. He's got to have it, though.
Yeah.
He's got to have it to do what he wants to do. So, good on you, kid. Just don't fuck it up. And then we had the Niners-Packers. That was fucking exciting. It was weird as shit. But it was nowhere near.
Block punt.
That was huge.
Changed the whole game, man.
Yeah, it wasn't
in the playoffs, bro. Like, I don't know what it is.
All right, and then we had. So then, Bills and Chiefs was a fucking wild one. Are you telling me you didn't enjoy that game?
I I didn't watch most of it. I fell asleep.
Late. All right. You watched game tape though. You didn't go back because what I did.
I've seen it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, you do this kind of shit. You're like, oh, well, I was asleep. Oh no, I watched it the next day. I fucking know you did.
I mean, I didn't watch it. I watched highlights of it.
That's what I did.
I don't record that shit.
No, me neither. So what I actually did, we were over at a friend's house with the kids and having dinner and just socializing, catching up, and we're kind of watching the game. I was like, okay, I may as well not watch this because I need to watch it kind of like all together. So what I did was the next day, NFL on YouTube, they'll crunch them down to just the big plays, just the highlights. So it was like I went back and watched the Niners-Packers. That was like a 17-minute video. And then like the Bills and Chiefs was like a 25-minute video. But it's just the bang, bang, bang plays. So you basically just get, you don't get to see the setup and all that stuff, but the quick and dirty version of it. So that's kind of how I watched it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this would have been crazy to like be at the game or to be a fan of one of those teams, like the back and forth.
No, if I was a Bills fan, I would probably hate life today.
Oh, yeah.
No more. I'm not gonna. I would probably hate life. But at the same
time, you're a Bills fan, so you're kind of used to
13 seconds away from beating Pat Mahomes, but they probably would have lost next week anyway. They can't beat the Bengals. I don't think the Bills would be able to beat the Bengals.
Well, we'll see. And we did see, I also caught the Rams and Bucks. That was a bit of a wild one. The Rams almost gave that shit away multiple times. And by the way,
that Tom Brady bullshit, bro.
How great would it have been that if Eric Weddle and his stupid extra hit cost the Rams? Like, did you see that play on Mike Evans? Like, if he was there,
bullshit. It definitely shouldn't have been no after the play. That should have been a 50-yard penalty, bro.
It's only because it was fourth down. Had it been third down and they retained possession of the ball, because here's the thing, though. It was after the play, which resulted in a turnover on down. So as soon as the ball hits the turf, it is Rams football. And Eric Weddle came in a quarter of a half a second after with the crown of his helmet at Mike Evans' face mask, which, by the way, I don't really like Mike Evans. I love him fantasy-wise, but he was a dick at Oklahoma, and he's still a dick. So I kind of was like, whatever, you deserve to get popped. But how bad is it?
He was torching Jalen Ramsey ass.
Yeah, he was. So, dude, Eric Weddle almost cost the Rams the NFC Championship game, and they just barely signed him as a fill-in. And he came second.
Somebody would have kicked his ass.
Oh, he would have flown back to whatever Midwest state he's in and never shown his face again. He'd just live on his riches.
No, I mean like somebody in the locker room, like one of the teammates would have fought him.
He wouldn't have made the press conference. He would have just walked straight through the tunnel out of the building and been gone. They'd kill you for that. Matt Stafford might kill you for that. I mean, Matt Stafford is my MVP. He is my MVP of the year. He won our bet.
Leading the league in interceptions?
No, he won our bet, so automatically he's in an elite tier for me.
Oh, he's just your MVP.
Brendan's MVP. Okay. He's got more.
He led the league in picks. He can't be the MVP.
I don't give a shit about that. Throw as many as you like, sir.
He had more picks than Trevor Lawrence, man. He stinks.
Gives a shit. He also had a lot more touchdowns. You forget that.
No, I don't. All right. He's like 30 for 30 like Jameis.
He got more than one playoff win, so now we don't have to have that discussion anymore. He got more than one playoff win. It wasn't just a fluke, whatever. He's going to lose the NFC Championship game to the Niners, so that automatically puts him up on my list. And
you know what?
He's been covering the over in the playoffs. He's my MVP.
I don't know if he's going to cover the this time, but you know what had to happen? He hasn't thrown those picks yet. So 49ers, cornerbacks, get your hands ready because they're coming and it might be in bunches, baby.
Oh, Jimmy Ward over the top just scouting when he goes to throw that deep ball to Van Jefferson. He's just going to be sitting there nice and pretty. Yeah. Hopefully I'll be there fucking watching it.
Because it's coming.
But you also have to admit that Matty Stafford has made the Rams fun again. He's made the Rams fun again.
I don't think he's. I mean, I don't think he's that much better than Goff, man.
Whatever, dude. He's made the Rams more fun since the greatest show on turf. Which, by
They
the
just
way,
didn't have as much confidence in Goff. That's the problem.
by the way, the Rams, I do have to say, they own my favorite Monday Night Football moment of all time. Do you know what moment I'm talking about with the greatest show on turf? When Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce are running down the sideline. I forget who they were playing. I think it might have been the Cardinals, but I don't remember. And it's basically like Warner goes back. Isaac Bruce, I don't remember the play, but Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt are both going up the sidelines. Both get behind the entire defense. Warner throws it to Holt, and then they're running up the sideline looking at each other for like 30 yards, like 25 to 30 yards into the end zone. Like, the Maestro and I always had a joke, like, I bet you they're talking about where they're going to dinner because they're smoking these chumps, and they're not worried about this game at all. It's just like, hey, where you want to go tonight, bro? Yeah, that sounds good. You driving? I'll drive. Nah, I got the touchdown. You drive. Fucking, it's so rad, dude. That was one of the best moments I've ever seen in football. I love it.
Yeah, I love those type of moments. I ain't gonna lie.
All right, so
Just talking to each other in the way to the end zone, baby.
it's so good. All right, so Bengals Chiefs. Do you think it's going to be a shootout? Obviously, because the Chiefs had no defense, the Bengals have a little defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, who do you think comes out on top?
I'm going to upset this weekend, man. I got Cincinnati. I got Niners.
I like
Cincinnati
it. I love it.
Niners. Take it back to the Joe Montana Boomer Esiason days, man.
I love it. I love it. So,
It's going to be a tough game for you on the Super Bowl, though, with those cornerbacks.
Yeah, that's
If their
good.
line can hold up, it's going to be trouble.
I
But
wouldn't.
your line is what you build your reputation on. So go
Yeah,
get them.
we rush 4.
Go get them, Tiger.
That's our
Yeah,
big deal.
you
Is we
rush
rush
forward.
4. So, we'll see. I mean, I'm absolutely rooting for the Bengals to beat the
And the
Chiefs.
touchdown you gave up the other day, the one that was just this is dumb.
Which one?
The one on the when you all playing cover 2, and for some reason he tried to go to the middle versus the Green Bay.
Oh, I don't even know what you're
And
talking about. Awesome.
Warner is already in deep middle on the cover 2 anyway with him.
Okay, buddy.
Go ahead.
X's and O's.
Yeah, X's and O's, man.
But
Watch too much football.
No,
and the season's about to be over, and I'm gonna cry.
yeah, well, that's okay. You should go to the Pro Bowl and try and hook up with one of these people and be their consigliere for next season or something like that.
There you go, man. Give me tickets and invite me to games.
There you go. Yeah, so I'm hoping that the score of the Bengals Chiefs game is 34-30 Bengals. Hey Mags. And
Hell is she bargaining? Who's by my house, bro? I hate when people come by my house because Maggie just be going the hell off. Like
Good.
she owns the block.
let them know.
She doesn't own the block. Yeah. Like people can walk on the sidewalk.
Well, maybe not. I don't know. Walk around. Go the other side of the street. There's 2 sidewalks. If we install those moving sidewalks for the homeless, then it won't be an issue. They scoot on by, baby.
Move on by.
Yeah, and then I'm obviously
They-
rooting
they-
for the Niners,
They
too.
come in my neighborhood, they'll end up in the woods. 'Cause
Oh,
my
come on.
sidewalk-
Stop it with that garbage. Get out of here.
What? So my sidewalk goes right into the woods. I'm just saying.
Whatever. All right. Well, okay, so let's say the Niners and Bengals make it to the Super Bowl. How do you see that playing out?
I don't know, man.
Tight game?
It's gonna be tough on y'all.
Yeah.
It could be a tight game, but it could get out of hand. If your running game starts to percolate, it could get out of hand. But they just stopped Derrick Henry, so
Yeah, but he
the
also
run defense is pretty
Deontay
good.
Foreman has earned his spot, so they were splitting time. So it's you never know.
I mean, they stopped them. They didn't. I don't know how many yards, but they didn't go crazy. So
I mean,
they
he
hold
almost
their
had
running game
100.
intact.
He almost had 100, and Foreman had almost 100, I think, because he broke off a couple of big runs.
Yeah, but if they hold your running game intact, you're in trouble because they're going to score points.
Well, we're not to
But
the Super Bowl yet. I'm just trying to get through the Rams, which I have a
I
feeling.
actually think this is going to be a fairly easy game. for
See,
them.
I funny enough is I kind of think that the game it won't be as close as the score. I think we'll dominate on the field, but the score will be less than 7. It'll be a 3-4, 7.
Well, I mean, NFL games always people make a little hair there, yeah, and they always end up not looking like blowouts. But I think you'll be fairly comfortable the whole game.
I think so. That's why I'm gonna try and go. Because if I thought we were gonna get smoked, I'd be like, I'll watch it at home. But no, I'm gonna try.
Trent Williams is gonna be a big deal, though.
Fucking huge deal. Huge deal. They just got to shoot him up and be like, all right, buddy, we got 2 weeks after this to fix you. And then you have the whole off season. Let's strap that thing with whatever we got to put in there, buddy.
After all these years as a Redskin, you get this deep, figure it out, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like he wants it because they're like, you could see him coming off the sideline on some of those snaps. Like, he wasn't coming out, but he obviously was at like 70%. At best.
Trent Williams in motion, it should be illegal.
Dude, that's one of the best plays ever, by the way.
Because he's gonna wipe out whoever is the person. I don't care if it's a linebacker. Whoever the person on the other end.
It's worse for a linebacker
motion,
because they engage in contact.
Yeah, because he's coming in motion and he's the athlete at that big of a size. He's whitewashing somebody, bro. Like, I don't want this to be the new thing. Offensive tackles going in motion, like the athletic ones.
You cannot knock Shanahan for just being the best at it first.
Yeah, no, Shanahan is a guru, man. And the Redskins had Shanahan, Green Bay's coach,
Matt LaFleur, and Sean McVay.
And McVay, all on their staff, and they have none of them.
At a certain point, was Papa Bear around when they were first?
Yeah, Papa Bear's who brought that whole
That's
staff
what I was
in.
saying. I thought they were all the young crew together with Kyle, and Kyle was like the captain of the cheerleader squad.
No, they were all together with Mike.
Yeah.
Mike was the head coach, and they were all underneath Mike.
Yeah.
And now everyone's gone, and the Redskins' offense has been trash for a while.
Yeah.
And these people are gurus. How do you not know you got gurus underneath your roof? Well, I can't say the same. We let Sean Payton go. He won the Super Bowl 2 years later.
Yeah, and what's he done since then? 13 years of mediocrity. And then
they're pretty good every year.
Yeah.
They don't win the Super Bowl, but they're pretty good every year.
What's the goal in football, Mike, in the NFL?
Only one person can win the Super Bowl, man.
Okay.
Sorry to say, only one team can win it.
And you guys will win in like 3 years when Sean Payton's your coach after you get the mountain
I hate the fact that I know they would ask for a lot in the trade because Sean Payton's never going to be our coach, buddy.
He's going to take a year off. McCarthy gets one more year. Then he gets
and
cycled
McCarthy's
out.
Going to win. If he wins, they're not going to fire him.
If the Cowboys win the Super Bowl under Mike McCarthy next year, you're good. If they lose the NFC Championship game, it's a maybe. Anything other than that, his ass is grass. And Jerry Jones is the lawnmower. He'll set fire to it before he mows it. He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, if we lose the Super Bowl, he can't fire Mike. If he gets us always to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but if they don't make it to the NFC Championship game, that's a cut.
No, he's done.
He's gone.
Yeah, he's done.
All right. So, speaking of something else, what you watching besides sports? You're back in your Law and Order
first
game?
I watched Law and Order, both of them, SVU and the new one with Stabler. Pretty fire.
I will say the one with Stabler, the one where he's on his own, that one is way better than the regular ones for me. I know the first season was
the SVU is getting a little like crazy with it. I'm not gonna lie like that. But yeah, I like Stables, and then I'm watching Married at First Sight. They got the Boston season back in full effect, and that's about it, man. Then I watch a whole bunch of sports, man.
Yeah. Well, dude, let me tell you, I know there's so much going on, but as soon as football's over, you'll have time to catch up on this stuff. So there's a docu-series on Netflix I watched called The Puppet Master. Dude. I didn't know, spoiler alert, I didn't know that Netflix would air documentaries where people were still on the lam. Like, they haven't found this fucking guy. Nobody knows where this dude is. And he's technically not doing illegal shit, but he has ruined people's lives in a psychotic way in Great Britain. And it's like, it's insane this dude.
Are you talking about the dude that dates all the women and gets them for money?
Yeah, he's a con man, but it wasn't just women. He treated them the absolute fucking worst. But like pretended to be like an MI5 spy, like from the time he was like 21. And since he's 21, like very meticulously, and I gotta give a nod to the guy, he was smart about it. But like never in the same place twice. And in order to fuck up all like credit card transactions and stuff, like they're in England, Great Britain, and whoever he was with, they would drive like across whatever they needed or whatever he wanted to get. They would drive multiple places like across the country in the same day. Like they would start point A, drive all the way across to point B, then drive all the way back to point A, but a different place for something else, and then drive all the way somewhere else, and that's where they would end up staying, and they would never repeat the same store twice. Or same hotel, or same anything. It's fucking insane the foresight this maniac had. But the guy's still with somebody's mom on the loose, and she's like, no, it's okay, I want to be with him. And they're like, no, you don't. This guy has fucking drained your mind, man. But, and this dude has been arrested before for detaining and withholding women, like locking them in rooms for multiple days, weeks on end, no food, no nothing, and then going back and showing up and like, hey, if you want a better life, you could do stuff for me. And they're just like so broken, they're like, fucking okay. This guy got released from jail because he never physically detained them. He psychologically tricked them into these situations. So he served time, got out, and started doing the same exact shit. You can't lock people up and not feed them, Mike. You can't fucking treat people like that. This guy, I hope they find this guy.
He didn't actually do that, and they had the freedom to leave.
But they didn't. Yeah. You don't have the freedom to leave when you believe that you're being chased by government agencies, and your safe as bet is to be locked in a room by yourself for weeks on end, so nobody will find you. Why does it need to be locked from the outside?
So you need to be smart enough to know that there's no proof and go. That's just someone lying to you. People get lied to every day, man.
I understand, but there's a very sick, sadistic way that it came to be. And I just hope that this dude gets the vigilante justice that he deserves, and his ass gets beaten on the cobblestones in the middle of the street, and the community, fucking Rodney King styles, just goes around and is like, if anybody tries to come in, we're gonna fuck you up. We're handling this now because you couldn't. Fucking deal with it. Like, I'm cool with that. Let's see that on. Give me a drone, couple different shots of it, and let's fucking let it be known that this guy's a piece of shit and torture him law-abiding citizen style. Pull out his fucking toenails, tack hammer to the chest, rip his eyeballs out, let him look at himself. I don't give a shit. Fuck this guy.
He really got under your skin, I see.
Oh, I better not ever come across him. I would gladly serve time to have a few minutes with that gentleman. It's fucking disgusting. Excuse for a human being. You know who's not a disgusting excuse for a human being? Liev Schreiber. Because he is one of my favorite characters of all time, which is Ray Donovan. And I'm going to say something right now, and you can debate me if you want. But I believe that Ray Donovan is better than The Sopranos overall as a show. As a collective.
I've actually never seen The Sopranos. I mean, I ain't gonna say I ain't never seen The Sopranos. I ain't seen it all the way through, so I can't say.
I've seen it all the way through, and not fairly recently, but when I had back surgery like 4-something years ago, I'd never seen any of it, so I watched front to back the entire series over the course of a few weeks. Ray Donovan I've watched as it's come out, season by season, and let me just say, they did the opposite of mess it up by doing a movie and doing everything. This was the cleanest break I've ever seen in a long-running TV show, and it was incredibly well done. The soundtrack is bitchin'. It ends on my favorite Rolling Stones song, Shine a Light, and Liev Schreiber co-wrote the movie. which I super appreciate because as somebody who has been Ray Donovan, their input should be in the final episode, in the final way it goes out. So this was basically like, the way it played out was like basically one of the best episodes of Ray Donovan, because there are a few that like, there are good seasons and then there are episodes you're like, fuck, dude, that was one of the best episodes of television I've seen. This was one of those, but it was 2 hours long. It was, I cannot say enough good things about it. Now, you do have to accept some of the Ray Donovan-isms in it, where like he's kind of Superman and he could be fucking drunk and still whoop ass and like get hurt and still bounce back pretty good. So you have to, you know, allow that layer of imagination to kind of be there. But if you're a Ray Donovan fan, they did it right. They did it right. I can't wait to rewatch it later. Like, it made me excited to not right away, but it made me excited to maybe in like 6 or 9 months, like, I'm going to go back and watch it over again. You know what I mean? Like, it made me excited to now have the entire story go back and watch it unfold. You know what I mean? It's like reading a good book, except without all the words.
I'm gonna get to it at some point.
I know you will. That's one of your guys.
Yeah, Ray Donovan's my shit, so I'm gonna definitely get into it.
Well, my shit this week and our shit this week, figured we could lay low a little bit. It's time to fucking chill. Everybody's getting a little too excited. It's time to chill out. So this week, our Spotify playlist, we're going with Bob Marley and Tom Petty. We're going to smooth it out a little bit this week. So on that note, keep that love in your heart. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Brendalis7 for me, at Black Irish 213 for Mike, and at Black Irish Pod for the both of us, our collective. We're going to be moving and shaking here pretty soon. So keep coming. Keep having the fun with us every Thursday. And in the meantime, make sure you love each other. I love you, dude.
Always, man. Love you too, bro.
Later.